Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to an amazing moment in history. We've been having these debates for 20 years, 21 years to be exact, and they've been incredible. The problem is we haven't been recording it. And so, was it last year? You kind of talked about doing a YouTube or some type of podcast or some type of platform where we documented it because I felt the world needed to see it. It's nothing like AJ on the camera.
and we had these conversations, and it's about also bringing you all into the conversations, you know?
Absolutely.
You know, because we go back and forth for hours, days, years.
Yeah. Hours for real.
Yeah.
But let me start it off. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of Opinions versus Facts. So we're going to be ironing out some kinks here and there, so bear with us. And I would like to start by introducing myself. My name is Presise, a P6 brand agency, business coach, marketing strategist, brand specialist. The list goes on. And to my right is my guy.
AJ, y'all know me by AJ ATL, entrepreneur, small business developer, marketing strategist, all around good guy. Let's get it.
Well, sit back just a little bit.
All right, let's go.
You gotta
Production,
relax,
these
man.
are the kinks.
Yeah, you gotta relax, man.
These
focus
seats too
on
cozy. I ain't used to good stuff.
Yeah. You got your water right there in case you need
Got
it.
you. I don't know why we got the candle, but that's all right. We'll figure that out.
We need a nice fragrance popping.
So let's get into it.
All right, so today's topic comes from a real life scenario brought to you by my good friend, Dr. Tiy-E Muhammad. And so Dr. Tiy-E Muhammad is a unique guy, real strong principle guy. And so for the past couple of years, you know, we've been communicating, and I communicate one way, and he makes it a point to communicate another way. And so one of the conflicts that we had most recently is the fact that I text him a lot. And so one day, I was shooting a music video, and I texted him and asked him to use his car in the video. He immediately called me to check me, to tell me how wrong I was for texting him about that. And I should have picked up the phone and called him, which kind of took me off guard. But I was like, all right, let me hear you out. And he gave his reasons, and the reasons were fucking old school ass shit. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it put me in a bit of a predicament because, you know, of course I want to accommodate him, but this is how I move. You know what I mean? Should you change how you move to accommodate somebody else? So we kind of went back and forth, and I kind of decided one way and switched it up, and I'm still kind of torn. And so recently it came up again, and me and AJ kind of hashed it out, spilled over to Facebook. A couple of people chimed in. I haven't looked at the update to see where we was at, but we wanted to kind of talk about today, should you be able to text, because it's 2022, or should you, for certain situations, have to pick up the phone and call your friend? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's the gist of it. The loss of interpersonal, you know, conversations and communication and ability. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a skill set. Communication is a skill set.
Absolutely.
You know, and we always had these talks about old versus new, and your position seems to be that, the world is on the go and it's okay to text.
Right.
And I'm like, no, you gotta communicate with your friends a certain kind of way. Now, I'll be the first one to admit, you know, I very well may send text messages to everybody. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to offend nobody if I ain't never call you about something, but I also pick up the phone with certain people. I pick up the phone and I have a conversation with.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, like I personally hate it. Like I only do it because I understand that y'all have normalized the shit. And I'm talking about communicating via text message personal, important information to your friends. That's no. So Tiy-E, I think I agree with Tiy-E in this instance, right? Call me, maybe not the car, but call me when you got information when you're my friend. Don't send me a text of your baby and being like, Lil Keisha, 5 pounds, 10 ounces, born at 2:15 on Thursday. If we friends, I get it, and that's why the world is going to shit, because we normalizing bullshit ass behavior.
So look, today, right? Today, this afternoon, one of my clients called me. We just sent her some information. She loved it. She called me. I didn't pick up the phone. I was on the phone. Then she texts me, and the first line it says, "I know you're a texter." You know what I'm saying? So in her mind, she immediately thought the reason why I didn't pick up the phone is because I'm one of them who prefers to text. It's not true, but my position is, my position is always moving forward. Technology, moving forward, get with the times. Stop being old school. You know what I mean? And granted, there's a conflict, right? When my younger brother comes to the dinner table and he got headphones on, I'm livid. But for the young kids, that's what they do. So in that scenario, I'm like, you want to get with the times and understand, but at the same time, you have traditions and certain ways of doing things that you want to be able to maintain. Texting is not one of them, though.
Absolutely, absolutely. Texting is one of them, right? We have to have a balance, yo. Like, we so on the screen times. I mean, we're so much on screen time. We're so much moving fast and inboxing and texting and hopping in the DM. Like, we really don't know how to act when we get in front of people. Like, that's important. You can't, and what's being lost with this younger generation and us trying to conform and meet and fit in with what's supposed to be right now is the loss of interpersonal connectivity and skills. You dating online, you meet a chick at the club, you don't know, or wherever you meet her in real life, you don't know how to socialize with her.
That's a fact.
And that's the problem why I'm always about not normalizing bad behavior, because it has a bigger...
I wouldn't call it bad behavior.
I think it's bad behavior when you realize the effects of it, right? When you can't go into the world and have and I want to make sure I'm staying on topic and I'm not mixing points. My point ultimately is, especially with friends, you have to, I think it's important to keep your friends. I think I'm pissed off if you don't call. If you send me a text and you like, yo, my son was just born, I'm like, yo, my dude, hold up, am I your dude? I know you in the hospital and it's busy, but because you made that comment on my Facebook page and we didn't have the context. And I'm like, yeah, you got, like, that wasn't the first communication.
Your people's agreed with me, though.
I got to go back and check the update. Just for clarity, he made a comment on Facebook and he said some number of times this year the first he learned about his friend's child being born was a text message.
Yep, photo.
That can't be the first time.
No, it is.
That is horrible. That is not okay.
Yeah. So this is the thing that's missing, and I'm gonna pull this into everything that's going on. We always talk about what we're losing, right? But we leave out what we're gaining. For example, we went from rotary phones to push button phones to big nasty cell phones, to small cell phones, to now smartphones that do 3,000 different things at the same time. When you call somebody, right? I mean, there's three-way calling from back in the day. You could have two people on the phone. Now, how many people could you have a text conversation with at one time?
Maybe 100.
100 effing people. Think about that, though. Think about what you're gaining. So in that same time period of 20 minutes that you could only speak to one, maybe two people, you could talk to 100 people. That's what you're gaining. That's the trade-off.
Here's what he left out. The world, I think people would argue, was a better place when we was able to simply call two people on the phone.
Nah, the world's a better place now.
Because we here?
With everything. Mainly
is it better?
Mainly because
morality is low. Crime is definitely at an all-time high.
Is it?
Yes.
Crime goes up and down. The 80s.
I mean, it
crime
does.
was
I mean,
high.
it was not.
Yes, it
I think
was.
most people would argue that there was more harmony and peace in the world when we had two-way calling versus being able to text 100 people.
That's not true. And the other thing is,
Facts versus opinion.
information moves fast. When somebody gets shot, it took the 7 o'clock news for you to learn about it. When somebody gets shot, you know about it while they still leaking on the ground. and be able to have fast ways of communication is the reason why. Text is a superior, fast way of communicating. You just said it. You could hit 100 people in the same time it takes to talk to one person. Think about the amount of communication and information that is shared with that.
No, I don't.
That's what you gain, and people leave that out the
I
conversation.
agree. What I'm saying is that there's a correlation with all of the technology and the new shit and the deterioration of some basic core values with us as human beings. There's connectivity. With all of the good, we're losing some level of quality of life. Example, and I'll keep it a buck with you. My son is 13. He's in the game. If it weren't for me and me being his daddy, right? And I still think I'm losing, just for the record. It might look good, but I still think I'm losing the battle with my kid and having him motivated, having him more aware of what's happening in the real world. But I still understand the awkwardness he has as a 13-year-old, now a freshman in high school, first time in a public school, and I can identify the awkwardness he has as a 13-year-old child in comparison to other 13. Like, he comes home and he's like, yo, they were shooting dice in school. You know, now, of course, that's nothing new to us.
Right.
And it's definitely not new to the kids around him. But to him, it's new and it's different. And his ability to process it, that and other things, he got a little learning curve to do with his social communication. And I'm saying that's lost because he's stuck in that game.
Real quick, though. My son, he's 17 now. When he was younger, and even now, he's watching TV, he's on his iPad, and he's on his phone all at the same time.
Okay.
At the same time, doing one flipping. He could tell you what's going on in the show, because the whole argument is that kids are losing social skills or getting dumb, but what's always missing is what you're gaining from it. People or have a different level of concentration and being able to multitask because of technology. In the past, we couldn't do that. We couldn't watch TV and do our homework. You know what I mean? Like,
Not do it good.
Yeah, he's doing 3 things at the same time because that's all he knows. He grew up in them. He always had those devices. So his brain has adjusted to it.
So what we have here is a tug of war as to, you say we never talk about what we gaining. I'm saying, and I'm clearly on what we're losing.
Right.
And I'm saying there has to be a happy medium. And I think if we promote and normalize, I think it's been proven more, and I don't have no list of facts. He's the facts guy. You know, he's the facts guy.
Right.
I'm the common sense opinionated guy that says there's connectivity with the loss of not being able to call your homeboy or your homegirl and convey certain information. Like, I would be offended, and I think people are, even though we may even send the information out, you're probably still offended when the wrong person sends you a text about certain types of. Come on, I remember back in the early 2000s. Shit, we old. But in the in the early 2000s,
calm down.
I absolutely, and I think I remember everybody being on this kick about, oh, I'm not going because you didn't call me to the ... event. You remember there was a moment in time.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody was like, don't send me the MySpace invitation to your birthday party or the Facebook invitation. It doesn't count.
And it's changed.
It doesn't count.
But why
It
hasn't-
shouldn't. It shouldn't change though, right?
It has
Because
to change.
it doesn't have to.
What do you mean? Records, CD players.
Mind you, we're talking about friendships.
Right.
You and Tiy-E are friends.
Okay.
he expects you to treat him accordingly because he puts a value on your relationship.
Yeah, but that's a construct that he's holding on to that changes. Look, today, it just so happens I was listening to Mark Zuckerberg and Joe Rogan. And what they were talking about is there's gonna come a time where you're gonna teleport your ass to work, and instead of me sitting here, I'm gonna teleport here and be having this conversation with you. Now, what we're gonna lose is you're not gonna be able to tap me. But what I'm gonna gain, I'm gonna be at home multitasking, doing 300 things, and I'm probably gonna be teleporting in a bunch of people's rooms, and you could do it from country to country. So I'm gonna be in DR or Guyana and sitting here with you. That's what you gain. Yes, you definitely lose. You lose some of the interpersonal relationship. But I'm gonna be teleporting in 100 people's houses at the same damn time.
But the energy and by the time that happens, right?
It's coming.
I mean, it's coming. I don't take away that time is coming. Here's where I'll meet you at. I'll meet you at the reality of it is as we age out of this bitch, right? I don't know if we can curse on this, but
Yeah.
if we as we age out, the world now belongs to the other people. But I think we have an obligation to instill in them to not let go of some of the stuff that matters. I'm not suggesting they should hold on to cursive writing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not suggesting that, but I'm saying you got to hold on to some of the basic skill set of communication.
Here go one.
Because it helps with your ability to socially network.
Here's one, and I want you to tell the truth in this one. I'm gonna make a statement and ask the question, so I'm gonna let you have time to think about it.
All right.
My friend Stacy, I told you that she doesn't have no social media. She's our age, she doesn't have any social media. What I realized over the past couple of days is that because of that, and we don't text, barely. I speak to Stacy on the phone now, maybe once a year. And so my question to you is, right, isn't it true that yes, you may speak to people on the phone less, but you speak to them 10 times more because of text messages than you would have did before by just speaking to them on the phone? You understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
Because of text messages and maybe DMs, because they're the same thing, you speak to people more now, more often.
So okay, no, I don't know why you said be honest.
Back up a little bit.
Couple of personal experiences.
Think about
I see my man Kenyatta up there and my man Sean Ward, right?
What up, Sean?
You know Sean, you don't know Kenyatta. Kenyatta and I, in my opinion, well, I think he would share the opinion, we was cool in college.
Okay.
Super duper cool. Post-college, few years, we stayed in touch. And I think because of the ability or the perception that we're still, like, I think if I saw him today, it's like my man 50 Grand, we Shaw U alum, Bears, Virgo brothers, you know, we got a lot in common. We came up through Shaw U together, the whole shebang. So we still super cool, but we're not as cool as we once were.
That's because of time, though.
That's not time. That's because of the idea. In my opinion, I think that's because of the belief that we're still connected the same way because we're now Facebooking or we Instagramming. So I'm gonna go with here's another, personal story. I don't talk to some of my family members as much. And I think I won't blame it on social media, but I guess I am like the texting. I don't consider that as being more in touch.
Whoa. All right. Texting is a form of communication. What I'm saying is, for every text sent at different times, that's a touch point of communication.
Yes.
So if I've texted you 20 times this week, I've spoken to you via text
You have not. No.
20 times. I'm not saying that I have,
Okay.
right? But that's what I'm saying. So let's
The
two plus
touches,
two
the
is
touches,
four.
the touches are important. I'm saying the
So
more
come
you
on.
do that, we're still not connected. Like I still don't know what's going on with you, my brother, because we kind of have a few chats via text. I'm saying the personal relationship, I think it may not be severed, but it's not the same.
No, it's not the same. And that's back to the gain versus the loss.
And yeah,
Because this is the other thing. My guy Mark, that I went to college with, I haven't spoken to him since college. And then I spoke to him on Instagram. You know what I mean? I would have never spoke to him again if I had to call him. I almost got his number. And I think about how many people in the last 2 weeks, how many old school people have hit me on Facebook or Instagram that would have never have hit me if they had to call me. One, they don't got my number. So I speak to way more people that I would have never spoken to again because they're still connected to me via typing something somewhere.
So this brings up something else we talked offline. Like, and this may, we may digress a little bit, but keep us on track if it does, or if it's not relevant. We talked about also categorizing friendship and true friendship.
Okay.
I'm saying your man Mark is your man Mark from college, but does that mean he's your man, your friend? Y'all connected, but your relationship with him probably is way different than your relationship with Tiy-E.
Right, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And that should matter. And I think Tiy-E would feel like y'all relationship is different in the sense that he would and should expect for you to call him on certain matters. Now, if he's a person that's just like, or if there's a person that's just like, I don't talk to me on text, I think that's a little absurd. But my argument is predicated on the idea that the texting waters down the relationship between two people and an individual in society in general.
I agree.
Oh, well, what we
That's
have
the
this
loss.
conversation.
No, that's the loss.
That's the loss.
But there's a gain. So my argument is that with the loss, you gain way more than that.
Okay,
And so because of that, right, is the reason that it's gonna move forward and we're gonna do more of it. And it's gonna be less phone calls and way more texting and maybe something else. And then that is okay.
And I think that, and my point is, we shouldn't be so okay with normalizing the loss of personal relationships. 'Cause that's my argument. We shouldn't be okay with normalizing a whole bunch of bullshit we do as a society. But specifically on this topic, we've identified the loss and the gain. And I'm saying we shouldn't be okay with the fact that we're sacrificing the personal relationships that will be lost with the advent of all of these technologies. So I'm gonna ask the question. What do y'all think? Jump in the comments. This is my man Presise. This is our first, dialogue on camera. We've been having these conversations online. We're gonna do more of this because we think we have real insightful, edifying types of conversations.
Edifying.
So, yeah.
That's a word?
Edifying?
Yeah.
It's absolutely a word.
Okay, now keep going, my bad.
And I'm the product of Baltimore City Public Schools. This nigga got like 3 degrees and shit, and been a professor. Yes, this is, so our conversations be edifying to myself. He don't know what it means, but it's edifying to him too. But here's the point. I ain't closing this out. I'm just talking to the people on my Facebook Live. Jump in the comments. Tell us what you think. We're going to do more of these. We got a lot of different topics and conversations we're going to have, many of which are going to be primarily around, business development, which is something we both do.
Yeah.
As he got a new brand. Why don't you tell them about your new brand, man?
Oh, man. So next week, it is officially launching. It's called Turn Your Wisdom into Wealth. It's my new masterclass, my new coaching program. And it's for you entrepreneurs and business owners that have been working in your field for years, 20 years, 10 years, I don't know. But you know everything about everything there is to know about your particular business, and people come up to you all day long asking you for this information. And I'm here to tell you that this information is priceless, and you've been giving it away. But I'm going to show you how to take this information and turn it into a streamlined coaching course that you'll be able to sell, and you'll be able to sit on a beach with me in Punta Cana while these people pay you money to take your course.
Hey, I mean, that's what it is. He probably should have said Colombia. That's the new move.
Colombia.
That's
Medellin.
another conversation. Yeah,
Cartagena.
yeah, there you go. Cartagena. That's the
Yeah,
Miami
I
of
mean,
Colombia.
hey, man, I'm sorry.
But so I don't think there's an absolute end to
No.
this. Right?
We want the people to continue the conversation. DM us, talk in the comments. And we're going to have a bunch more episodes coming up with a whole bunch of different opinions versus facts, facts versus opinions.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want you guys to tune in. This is our first edition. This is our trial run. So we're going to work out the kinks. We're going to get a couple more camera angles going on. The camera guys are bleeping. He's not here because he's off doing, I don't know. But stay tuned and we'll get back at y'all. Peace.
Peace.